Now, I often get the question, where do I fit my hair in my mask? Well, that is to be determined. Now, Chapter 11, Pirates in Michigan. And this is Cryptic, Michigan, Woodland, Revelations. It was a hand study guide book that was given to a select few of us individuals here in Michigan, and even a whole lot of the population of Michigan don't even have this here book, or even not aware of it, I mean, so anyhow, back to Pirates in Michigan, Chapter 11. Twit, twit, twit. Many people are unaware of the fact that there are pirates on the Great Lakes. One of the Great Lake pirates was a man called Calico Jack. Calico Jack was a pirate who was known for always wearing very colorful clothing. Sounds like a very stylish individual, probably well ahead of his time, being around a bunch of Amish midnight, stank booty butts. He operated differently than what some pirates may have in the 1700s. It means he probably bathed and showered and was very hygienic and took care of himself. He would reportedly hang around ports. Well, he is a captain of a ship, and the ship does sail in a port, and ports usually have bars and women, which is really associated with rum and alcohol and gambling. He would wait until captains and sailors left their ships. Well, once again, Calico Jack is a pirate, captain, has his own ship, frequents ports. He would then sail off for their ships in the night. I think they would sail off together, really, and then split it down the line, sail all the way down to Chicago. Like, yo, we're bootlegging this motherfucker, dropping the shipment off. We'll be back in the port by morning, bro, baby. We got this, player. It's just right there. You see that light? Yeah, that's less than 500 yards away. Let's get it. And then they would make their way to other areas to sell off the entire load. Come on, really? That sounds like more like a fucking inside job now. He would eventually captured in another part of the world and was hung with his crew. Oh, man. Another notorious pirate of the Great Lakes was Van Seavey. Seavey would actually set traps for ships. In certain areas, he would put up a light that simulated a port. I mean, this guy got it. How in the hell? All right. First of all, you got to think about this guy. This guy's over here like, I'm going to throw up this fake lighthouse. Okay, now. That's what they're saying. He would set up a fake lighthouse that would draw in ships. Like, oh, look, there's a port. And then they would come crashing into the rocks. And when this happened, CV would kill everybody and steal their cargo and make off with it. It was reportedly smelled like bungalow booty. He would also steal from ships that would run illegal alcohol. One of his most famous thefts was his takeover of a schooner named Nilly Johnson. See if I can focus this in so you can kind of see. I throw the light on. Okay. He invited crewmen from the Nilly Johnson over to have drinks with him. He stayed partially sober while they got drunk. He then tossed the drunken sailors over the edge of the ship. He then sailed to Chicago, where he sold their goods along with the ship. At some point, he was caught and was formally charged with Great Lake piracy. There were various pirates who were known as timber pirates. They were pirate crews who would sail up around upper peninsula areas without authorization. They would cut down huge areas of timber and then head off to industrialized cities of the east to sell their lumber. Chapter 12. The Farmer's Secret. For many years, a farmer up near Thompsonville held a secret. He had an acreage up near Crystal Mountain which had never been explored by people in the outside world. It is said he didn't let people go onto his property. So once again, he had acres near Crystal Mountain which had never been explored by people outside of his property, for he didn't allow people into his property, so therefore it was never explored from anybody other than himself. Hence the name The Farmer's Secret. Eventually, the land had been in his family for many years, and he himself must have lived to a ripe old age. When he willed his land to the state of Michigan. When the state of Michigan came to look at the land, they found a curious natural formation. It is said that tucked and hidden away on the property, a huge canyon, which is so large it rivals some of those found in the American Southwest. That's right, a canyon. And what was inside that canyon? Well, tune in, mate. We're about to find out now. It was found that the farmer had kept a huge secret for years. In fact, even though the state has opened up the land to the public, a large segment of the population is unaware of it. And inside of the cavern, you can see there is this artifact right here, which holds a key to the mystery of unsolving who we are. Chapter 13. Thank you for tuning in. If you're just tuning in, I am reading Cryptic, Michigan, Woodland Revelations. Very select you may know of it or have it, but I am reading off from what I have. This is chapter 13. Sit down, have some popcorn, have a drink, enjoy yourself. Shh. Be quiet, mate. I'm reading chapter 13. The Oodle Hills. There is a place called the Oodle Hills near Williston in the Manistee National Forest. According to Tim Scully, who runs a nearby motel, the Oodle Hills were a sacred place to the Native Americans in the area. Perhaps the strangest things about the area is that when the hills are viewed from an area view, they take on the appearance of an Indian in full headdress. Giant. Scully says the area permeates with an Indian presence. The latitude and longitude of Oodle Hills are, for those who want to know, I'm going to tell you the latitude, longitude, so you yourself can go and look. Don't destroy anything, because keep in mind, you are in another state, the state of Michigan. Alright, now this right here is something that few Michiganders know of, and is held sacred to not only Michigan, but is also a part of history itself. So if you want to, I'm going to give you the latitude, longitude, but if you go over there and destroy it, and you're from out of state, because those that live here in Michigan have not touched or destroyed this at all. So understand the consequences and repercussions of your actions if anything happens to this area. After I get done telling you the longitude and latitude. Okay, so the longitude and latitude of the Oodle Hills are 44.2038942 dash 86 dash or 86 period 085635 period. Many geologists classify a mountain as a landform that rises at least 1,000 feet or more above its surrounding area. The Oodle Hills, which have an elevation of 794 feet and are only 206 feet short of actually being classified as a mountain according to some people's standards. The strange thing is, many people living only a little more than 30 miles from there in Cadillac have never heard of these hills. They have a near mountain in the region and don't even know it. Chapter 14, Known Homes and Hobbit Houses. From 1919 to the 1970s, Earl Young built unique structures in Charlottebox. Young used stone, limestone, fieldstone, and boulders found in Michigan to build unusual homes. The dwellings have wavy eaves, cedar shake roofs, and unusual rafters. People have called them gnome homes and hobbit homes. There are various types of structures. There is a house that looks like it's cut in half. There is a house that has two chimneys that look like they're melting. There is a mushroom house that looks like a mushroom. There is an owl house that's shaped like an owl. There is a thatched. There are thatched roof homes. On Round Lake is a castle house. The Satford's Weather Vane Restaurant and the Weather Vane Terrace Inn and Suites were also built by Earl Young. There is a self-guided tour map available at the Visitor Center located at 109 Mason Street. Chapter 15, Mystical Forest Fountains. One of the best kept secrets of Michigan forests are its refreshing, mystical, natural fountains. These seamless, timeless, artisan fountains are perfect in this Aquarian age. There are a number of these mesmerizing fountains in northern Michigan. They can have an almost supernatural quality, as they give the appearance of defying the laws of gravity. An artisan aquifer occurs when pressure builds up between layers of rock or clay. When the pressure is relieved by water finding its way out a small opening in the ground, water shoots up into the air, also known as a geyser. Here are a few of them you can visit. 1. Maley Park. Well, this natural fountain is located in Honor, Michigan. It is located at a 2-acre park at the junction of US 31 and Deadstream Road. There is picnic area and parking. Number 2, Old Faithful. There was a drain and basin installed here in the 1930s to keep the well from flooding the road. It is located at the end of 13-mile road directly west of Bear Lake, 3 Portage Point Artisan, just past entrance to the Little Eden Camp. There is a 3-foot tall rookery with a metal basin and a spigot. Chapter 16, Underwater Ruins of an Ancient Civilization. See, Chapter 16, Underwater Ruins of an Ancient Civilization. With a period, which means that we don't really know if they're still around, but they're around, watching, surveying from the distance. Okay, so now, here we go. A few years back, a resident of the Wanakema area sent some very interesting photographs. The photos were taken by Google Earth. They were located by a Michigan man as he was examining an area just off the shore of Wanakema in Lake Michigan. The picture shows what appears to be a large rectangular object under Lake Michigan. The object is so large that it dwarfs nearby inland Portage Lake. In fact, it is bigger than the entire city of Wanakema. Photographs were sent later of a second object under Lake Michigan. The second object is not far from the first. The second photograph shows a view of what appears to be a large pyramid-type structure underwater. Although a dive team leader has been shown the pictures, there have been talk of sending a dive team down to investigate. No action has been taken that I am currently aware of. At times, Google Maps may splice certain areas together on their maps, which may lead to the types of abnormal shapes visible on the photographs. If this is the case, I have no knowledge of it. Are these strange anomaly structures built by an ancient civilization which occupied Michigan in the not too far distant recorded past? The University of Michigan researchers have already found ancient ruins beneath Lake Huron. They also found them in Grand Traverse Bay. Are there more ruins that they continue to find as they survey that we are currently unaware of? For I'm only speaking of the underwater ruins of the ancient civilization that I'm aware of. Chapter 17, The Keepers of the Forest. From Copmish, Michigan comes the incredible story of a man named David Millark. In a book published by the New York Times, it is reported that Millark went through a near-death experience. He was clinically dead. In this experience, he was contacted by otherworldly beings who told him that the planet was in peril because of vast ecological issues it is facing. Articles written in Millark's Out of the Body episode relate to when he was told that human life on Earth was all in jeopardy. Part of the solution to this would be to clone the champion trees of the world, then plant them across the entire planet. Millark has a vision of replanting the Earth with the genetics of the world's remaining ancient forests. Scientists and tree experts told him it couldn't be done. Despite this fact, he has gone on to accomplish incredible things. He has grown seedlings from the oldest tree in the world, the bristlecone pine named Methuselah, and that is spelled Methusela for those who are curious to know how to spell it. He has successfully cloned the waterfall tree. This is a tree that has the largest diameter in the world, that being 57 feet. He has cloned trees which have stood for over 3,000 years. He has gone all over the world finding lost groves, cloning trees, planting them all across the face of the earth. Many people are unaware of the fact that perhaps in the forest with the most redwood and sequoia trees in the world is hidden in Michigan. Stranger yet is the fact that it is a miniature forest and is growing indoors. And even more mesmerizing aspect of this mythical forest is the fact that it has been discovered that when these trees are spoken to, they seem to respond. Electric probes are hooked up to the trees when they are spoken to. Noises can be heard emitting from the trees. They are responding to being communicated to. Avatar. Plug yourself into the tree. You communicate with the tree. The tree tells you the knowledge you download into yourself. Is all universal. Universal connected. David Millark has traveled all over the world spreading knowledge of his work. His findings are broadcasted from major newspapers and media outlets across the planet. So once again, I'm going to tell you this. Even more mesmerizing aspect of this mystical forest is a fact that has been discovered. When these trees are spoken to, they seem to respond. Electric probes are hooked up to the trees. When they are spoken to, noises can be heard emitting from the trees, responding to being communicated to. Chapter 18, The Witchy Wolves. For years, rumors have circulated about a strange phenomenon that supposedly takes place on the Umer Plains near Umer, Michigan. There had been a number of reports about a strange shadow phenomenon that takes place there, as well as audible oddities. People have claimed to see shadows of packs of wolves crossing a road that runs across the plains. The legend is that the animals are spirit animals that are half dog, half wolf. One man who went out there reported having an intense feeling of being watched. He says he obtained a recording of a voice cursing, telling them to get out. The phenomenon is reported to take place at locations along Jose Road. The road runs across the Umer Plains, which are cut in half by the Rifle River. Chapter 19, Mouth Cemetery. In Whitewater Township near Montage is a particular place called Mouth Cemetery. The cemetery is located in a remote forest area near the mouth of the White River. Visitors to the area have reported seeing a bizarre mist phenomenon that takes place there. An unusual fog has reportedly been seen gathering around trees and bushes. It is said that one time there was a weird chair in the cemetery. It has been said that people who sat in the chair would die a year later. Some have reported hearing the sound of crying there. Historically speaking, the cemetery is reported to have been the site of Indian massacre between tribes. A visit to the cemetery could give a person the chance to come to their own conclusions regarding the place. Chapter 20, The Forgotten Library in the Woods. There once was a man named Joseph Sadnoni. He lived near Montauk and was known as a philosopher and a spiritualist. It is said that Sadoni had innate mental powers. It had been claimed that he could see things that were taking place in other parts of the world. Through his inner abilities, reportedly helped police solve crimes. Sadoni is said to have studied universal law, atomic energy, gravitation, electricity, light, heat, and magnetism. He also studied the unity of atoms, moleculars, human beings, the celestial spheres, and the galaxy. The celestial spheres and the galaxies. Sadoni was a somewhat secretive person. Despite this fact, he was world-renowned in some circles. He worked for President Roosevelt. He had correspondence with Gandhi, Kipling, Tagore, that's Tagore, King Gustav of Sweden, King Jorge, I think it's the fifth, or I don't know, it's a V and a 1, maybe that's like the 15th or something, of England, okay? And even Admiral Byrd. Admiral Byrd did what? He flew over the Antarctic Circle. Oh, well, look, I'm going through a cave. Oh my gosh, now I'm over here inside the journey of the planet. He was also involved in the Hollywood filmmaking industry. Various celebrities would come to visit him at his Montelage home called Valley of the Pines. One day, Sidoni's grandson took me on a private tour of the estate. It was a place that seemed lost in time. I was taken to Sidoni's library. It seemed nearly perfectly preserved from the 1950s. There were many shelves of books, complete with an old-fashioned ladder so that a person could climb to the top to get a book off the shelf. The book off the shelves. Since Sidoni was an inventor, there was also an old laboratory complete with old instruments and glass beakers. By climbing the steps of a hill, one could reach an old chapel, complete with a peculiar symbol on the door. In recent times, his family plans on restoring the estate and making it available for public viewing at specific times. Chapter 21. The Day of the Blue Ice. In late February of 2018, an amazing event took place along the Straits of Mackinac. Some rectangles of blue ice began appearing all across the straits. The ice blocks were like prisms. They displayed the interplay of light and the spectrum. This special type of blue ice appears when the ice is consolidated in such a way that bubbles in the water do not interfere with the passage of light. An expert commentated on the phenomenon. Without the scattering effects of bubbles, light can penetrate ice undisturbed. In ice, the absorption of light at the red end of the spectrum is 6 times greater than at the blue end. 6 feet into the ice, most of the light in the red spectrum can't be seen. A lack of reflected red wavelengths produced blue in the human eye. The blocks were like natural prisms, demonstrating the interplay of light in the spectrum. Chapter 22. Michigan Near Space Flight in 1934. Many people are surprised to discover that a flight to the edge of space took place from Michigan way back on October 23rd, 1934. Thanks for tuning in. If you're just tuning in, I am reading Cryptic, Michigan, Woodland Revelations. I am on chapter 22, and I have gone over how you yourself are an avatar, that there is spherical planets and galaxies, that we reside in a mythical forest, which we communicate with the trees, and the trees can communicate with us. Now, I've explained that experimentation of authenticity of what is known as the keepers of the forest. Now that you know you're an avatar, you are a keeper of the forest, planet Earth. Professor Jean Picard and his wife, Jean Annette, took off from Ford Airport in Dearborn in a special circular globe. Which ascended by means of hot air balloons. They had equipment on board which measured cosmic rays. There were 168 Geiger counters on the craft to register cosmic rays. Equipped with a shortwave radio, they journeyed to the edge of space. They reached a height of 57,679 feet. Jeanette actually held the record for the woman that had reached the highest altitude until Russian cosmonaut Valentina Tereshkova orbited the Earth in Butsk 6 in June of 1963. There was actually a Star Trek character named after Jim and his twin brother, Auguste, who was an air and deep sea explorer. The character's name was Jean-Luc Picard. Jeanette eventually became a consultant for NASA during the 1960s with the Apollo program. It's strange to think that people have already reached the edge of space many years ago. And here is what they were flying on, and it is a giant bird that they attach some Geigers around onto in order to get them that height. And here you can see them riding on top of it. Here's the world down below as they're measuring with their cosmic rays. So yes, people did ride dinosaurs as well as giant feathered sentient beings as a means of transportation from longitude to latitude in order to get around. So in here, because there was no really available photos, so you know what I'm saying, this is what we got. And I already showed you the Starfleet Academy. And we're going to stop at Chapter 23, Michigan Micro Wonder. And this will be read on the next upload. I got to get me something to drink. Thanks for tuning in. Rewind. And know that you yourself are a keeper of the forest. I just knighted you. You're an avatar. Tap into the earth. Communicate with the trees. They respond back. Do not feel foolish. And that is how we'll be able to better coexist with each other and have that inner balance with nature, the universe, ourselves. Unlocking all 12 chakras. So, thanks again for tuning in. And this is a little bit of my reading from Cryptic, Michigan, Woodland Revelations. And if you just want to fast forward up to Keepers of the Forest, feel free, go ahead. The information is yours to take, soak, absorb in like a sponge. And I'll see you on the next one. Keep collecting. Peace.